Hey everybody, Jesus loves you. My name is Cody, and you are watching the Wednesday episode of that Christian news show thing that I do. And our first story is about Britain. We just talked about the other day about the 4 people. They all went to court because they were getting fired from their jobs because of their Christian values. And pretty much they went there, and what they got was you need to either choose between your faith or your jobs. You can't have both. And I'm kind of curious what you guys think about the argument that was at hand, and that was that there are other religions in Britain that are able to, that wear the shawls and things like that. Why couldn't the Christians wear crosses? And right off the top of the bat, I think that's a really good argument, but it brings up the question, these crosses aren't necessary for you to be a Christian, where those other ones are necessary for them in their religious belief. So again, I am kind of curious whether you guys think that that was a good argument or not, because that was their big argument. The court is simply saying they do not have the right to wear the crucifixes during work hours. And then you have the guy that wouldn't give sex therapy to a gay couple, and people are freaking out about that. But again, if he doesn't know how to give sex therapy to gay couples, he probably shouldn't be doing it. Bottom line, I'm a little worried for Britain and how they are just pushing Christianity out of the way. They're not pushing any other religions really nearly as hard, but again, Christianity is one of the bigger faiths. And our next story is a really weird one coming out of Lawrence, Georgia. Because there's a church there and they're having 24-hour worship services, and this is obviously bothering the neighbors because of the loud music. And according to the church, they've been putting tons of money in trying to soundproof the building and things like that, but you can feel the house's shake because of the bass. One of the neighbors even saying that they feel like it's more of a rock concert going on there every night instead of a 24-hour worship service. And this news story is just really weird because I've never heard of a church being so loud that it was waking the neighbors. And I kind of felt bad for the church because they're doing an amazing thing until I realized what their name was, which is International House of Prayer, IHOP. So yeah, kind of a crazy thing. What do you guys think? Do you think that they should have this worship service and just try to quiet it down? Or do you think that it's just stupid and they need to just stop? I mean, for me personally, I don't see why they just don't have the louder music during the day and they have those slower worship songs at night. But then again, I don't know the neighborhood. I don't know the IHOP church. So I can't really give too much of an opinion on it. And the final story of the day got me really excited personally because it had to do with technology and how that interacts with the church. And as excited as I get about technology in church, I was kind of let down when I read the actual article. See, the article itself was about technology, but it was about Plano Church using technology. But what they're doing is they're using big projectors, playing big music, kind of like the church we just talked about. And it's just kind of meh. Don't get me wrong, the special effects and all that stuff is really, really awesome. It's a really great way to make church interesting, but I don't think it's enough to call it technology savvy. In the article, they say something like, we're trying to get to the people that are more used to iPads than they are hymnals. And my immediate reaction was, then why not give them iPad? And maybe it doesn't have to be an iPad, maybe it's a cheaper tablet, but you make an app, you put an app on those tablets so that when they go there, they can see the verse that's up on the screen, or all that kind of things that they could do with this. They could play the musical lyrics on your tablet. And I mean, the projectors and the special effects, that's all really great, but you want to make stuff interesting, not just exciting. Like the worship group, it's a rock band, it's very exciting, but we don't have different types of music every time you come in. And then there's the other side of all of this. I should talk about buying everyone a tablet. That gets kind of expensive, so there's going to be a lot of people that say, you're a church. Why are you spending so much money on these projectors? Things like that, when you should be simply using that money for mission stuff. And I do believe that is a genuine problem. The church that I go to now, I look at and I see all the giant TVs, and I see the giant TVs in their offices and things like that, and I go, why is this money being spent here when it could be spent elsewhere? So I've got 2 questions of the day for you guys. 1, do you think the money should be put making church interesting and technological, or do you think that it should be put more towards the missional work and you need to stop worrying about this technological stuff? If your church didn't have projectors, would you really like it all that much? And the second question is, if you are for the technological church, what do you think would be really good ideas for that church besides just the TVs and the projectors and things like that? What could they put in a church that would actually make it interesting and new? So go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below with your answer. You can leave a video response if you want. That would be awesome. And then we're not going to have a verse today, but I do want to talk about Acts chapter 17. See, in that chapter, Paul goes to Athens and he talks to people about all the different gods that they have in Athens. They have all these different statues for different gods, and they have a statue that says, to the unknown God. Now, the reason I bring that to point is because that is their culture. That is what they do. I mean, if you go to Athens in that time period, all they talk about are these different gods and what they do and things like that, and they're very interested in the idea of gods. And Paul, being the amazing preacher that he is, the best, he goes and he tells them, you know what, you see that God over the unknown God? I'm going to tell you who that is. And he tells them about Jesus, and they tell him about the God. And the point that I'm making with that is that he took their culture and he used their culture to explain Jesus to them. And I think it brings up a really good point that the best way to preach is to use people's culture. And although I do believe that churches should be using their money for really good things and for helping people out, I do think that technology is part of our culture today, and the best way to preach to the people of today is to use technology. But yeah, that's all that I found interesting in the news today. So in closing, let the haters hate, let the Christians pray, and to everybody like to subscribe. I will see you later, and God bless.